is going to be a two-parter.
Cool.
Larry's back.
I'm back. I like it here.
You like it?
Yeah.
You having fun?
Having fun, getting dirty.
We're way past Hot Rodding 101 here. Yeah. Big difference between just a car that you see out, you know, the old car and a show car. Two different animals. I mean, you can have a really nice car, win local shows, do whatever, and have trophies. It's not what I consider a show car. You have been pretty detailed here.
Yeah, it's good.
We're in a level where, okay, this is, I mean, if we found some more flaws here and changed up and we've done, I mean, we could keep adding, but what, we're here till late last night.
10 o'clock.
We almost did, well, it was past that, but I almost suggested we do live at 11:05.
Oh yeah,
PM.
that's right. That's right. We
PM.
could have did that, yeah, for Australia.
So we were looking at the interior. We've got this thing up now. We fitted it down on the chassis, and there was just a couple minor things. We wanted to make sure the column was going to be where it went, and you've been stressing over the hump on the floor.
Just wasn't enough room for the foot feet for me. The hump was in the floor when we bought the car, and it was just too high. There was just too much space between, you know, the transmission and the hump, and it didn't create enough area for the foot feet between the column.
And I assure you, Larry's been stressing over it.
Oh yeah. Well, because I want to be able to drive it
I don't know if you were
comfortably.
concerned that I wasn't concerned at all.
A little.
Were you?
A little.
It was like, okay, yeah, we'll deal with that.
We'll deal with that.
We'll get that later. So we started looking at it yesterday, and it was an issue. I mean, that thing was probably, you can kind of see where it's, comes all the way back here. That started here and went way up, and where we got it here, it went way up into here. This thing was huge, and it came way down. There would have been no foot room. So I studied on it for about, I don't know, what do you think? 10 minutes?
Not
10
very
minutes?
long.
Not very long.
Not very long before you...
Okay, let's just cut this out.
The saw out.
What happened? It got a saw out and just whacked it. So since this is a tech thing, I mean, here's the advice for the thing. Make your car drivable. Even if you don't drive it a lot, make it drivable, make it comfortable as possible. There's not a lot of room in these things, so we can do that. Oh, Josh is put on the phone, so I'm hearing the delay. So if you have a question live, he can probably tell us now. So he's watching that also.
Okay.
There's a second or two delay. So tell me your experience here. What's your thought process on just that? How does that work?
Oh, on just this?
On just that, what did you think? What we were going to do?
Well, originally I thought we were just going to cut like a square notch on the one side of the tunnel and get as close to the transmission as possible.
So we're going to try to
use its shape and just make something in there and get close. You know.
Could you picture it? Did you have an idea?
Yeah, I could picture it.
So we'd have had a big square notch on that.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have looked. I mean, this is going to look way better, and there's more foot room for the passenger now. It's just a better.
It's better.
Definitely
we can
better
put the brake pedal
on
the right hand side, so you can right foot brake.
So you can drive it like you should.
So that, yeah, when I say on the right hand, it's the right hand side of the steering column. So it's both your pedals are going to be together, and if it had a clutch, it'd be on the left hand side, but it won't have a clutch.
Mm-hmm.
So we started. We had this shape, and this is not on.
I'm gonna get on the other side real quick.
No, that got nipped off.
Go for it now.
All right, so we had this general shape, except it was much bigger. It was this long. It was way tall. It stayed way out. So I took what I could see in the part itself, and first I cut it all out. So we had a big opening in the floor. Yeah, this is part of what we took out of the front. It was way up here. You can see how tall it was. So we lowered it down, got it fitting. It's on the hoist, so we had the car underneath of it, which was very handy to be able to lift the car up and down and set it on the motor and not have a bunch of people happen to try to do that. So we took and we got this piece put in here on a flat. So on the bottom it's still flat. Larry went ahead and put another piece. This piece is in here. It's just taped. It's flat. So what we're going to do is once we get this bonded in, and then these come out this way. So I'm going to bond these in from the top. Put them down. He's got some screws that he can put them down in there. He's going to screw it down. So I'm going to bond all this in. We'll take and put our core mat into this hole with fiberglass to fill it to the same level as this. This was the very tip of the end I cut off about, oh my gosh, it was probably that long when I cut it off. So this is a good tip of the end. You can kind of see here, once I put this on, obviously that'll be underneath, but I can take a saw underneath then after I've glassed all the top and trim all this excess I've got underneath, and I'll do the body work underneath. So what I want to do now is I'm going to gob it for you.
Okay.
I need to pay attention to what I'm doing when I'm squeezing
Yeah,
it.
you need to-
Squeezing the thing, yeah, okay.
Let me, do you want me to get those pieces out of the way?
I'll pick them up. So I'll get the stuff in there, I'll put it under there, and you can screw it all together, and then we're going to do part 2 of this thing,
Okay.
which is over in the other room. And it's kind of unusual. Normally we don't have outsiders. You've been around so much, you're not an outsider anymore. But we've got somebody else working in the shop that doesn't work here. But this has been a fun project. It's almost like working with your buddy in the garage.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Except
There's a lot of nice stuff.
yeah, you got a lot more nicer
Pretty
tools.
nice garage.
Yeah, and then you got Eddie and a few other guys. It's like you got a question. It's like, what do you think about this? And so
Absolutely.
whenever you get a few people together, and they don't have to be skilled, because building hot rods for 20 or 30 or 40 years or whatever the case. Whenever you get 2 or 3 or 4 people together and come up with ideas, as long as y'all can get along nice and you don't have attitudes,
Right.
which sometimes happens in a group of people, it's way more fun. I always said this about the relationships. It's not about the car. I mean, and even the car shows. It's about the relationships at the car shows. It's not so much about the car. That's just the common thing that brings us together. Okay, so I got my plug. I'm just going to go ahead and gob it under here.
Yep.
This is a good bonding material. It kind of comes from the boat industry for, I was going to say they put transom in, but we have blended our own, and then we've kind of, this concoction here, I don't know what's the latest. This is a version of a couple different things. Is this kind of special for us, or is this special for the car things, or how did we come up with this?
No, there's a,
Try to
Oh.
put them on that tunnel, on the side of that tunnel there.
Oh, yeah.
one of those, I can't remember what boat company uses it.
So this still comes from, it's blended for a boat company,
Yeah.
so we kind of use that. So Larry will screw that down. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Can you see me working that?
Yep.
Once I get this all nice and tidy, this bonding material, we're going to actually lay fiberglass on top of all this. And I'm pretty happy. I mean, that's going to be a comfortable,
Yeah.
when we push the brake pedal up through there.
I think so. I think it's gonna be good.
Switch sides, yeah.
As long as I don't spill that red stuff on me.
Just strawberry glaze.
Right.
No, it might be raspberry glaze. I can't remember which one Bob likes. Strawberry or
Yeah.
raspberry.
One of them. Okay, so you can squeeze that down. Since we're doing a two-parter, you know what? I split my books up.
Oh, you did?
So we got one from the Pass It On, and I'm going to let you just focus on what you're doing there. So I like to wear gloves. That's a messy thing there. And I got my apron on. I was buffing a little earlier, so I'm ready. It looks like I belong in the kitchen. So Ernie the Hot Rod Man from Pass It On says today in part 1 of our 2-part feature here, learn from mistakes and move on. Do not drag stumbling blocks to the road ahead. So the mistake was we didn't think about that totally thoroughly up front and said, we're good to go. We could have probably handled this earlier. But, you know, I don't know that it would have been better, because with the lift and the way we got it going now, this is pretty easy. It was an easy fix.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? We started on last night, and we worked late last night, but
Yeah.
we probably got 4 hours in it
Probably.
so far.
Probably
So,
4.
so for 4 hours, don't leave a problem, especially something like this. It just
Being uncomfortable driving.
being uncomfortable driving. You know, get it the way you want it, because hopefully this is a car that you're going to have for years to come. Or somebody might offer you some money. I don't know what it's worth. We'll see how much. I may offer you something and
yeah.
see if you'll take it. But
Nah, I'm not real interested.
I was
in that.
looking at the stance and the way it's
Yeah,
sitting. I'm
not
liking
real
it.
interested in that.
I bet if somebody had a checkbook out there at this
Yeah,
car
well,
show, he'd be.
We're going to see if we can get somebody to buy Larry's car. Let's see what he'll take. So
Well, we're gonna try to sell it before it's over.
No, I'm just,
So Larry's car is for sale.
Hey, here's our for sale item here. If anybody's interested.
Oh, yeah, I'm got no time to finish my couch, so my couch is there. So here we are, Rob, part 2. You're part 2.
Hello.
So we got a car sold while you're here,
Yeah, which is a good thing.
which is a good thing. It's always a good thing, but it wasn't on your original order.
No, and unfortunately your demand is greater than.
Yeah, so we could not. There was no way that we could Spirit USA get this done and ready for the. And we got a little bit of reprieve. The container was going to be here tomorrow at 2 o'clock on Thursday at 2 o'clock. So now you got it rescheduled to 8 o'clock on Friday.
Friday, so that's good.
So that we're all going to dinner tonight though.
Yep.
So we're not working late, but tomorrow we may be working late. We may be working until the container gets here.
Midnight shift.
So what we have here is an extended, or I'm sorry, we have a regular 23. And we don't offer per se a left-hand door in our, because it's kind of tight and it's hard to get in with the steering wheel. And your customer wanted 2 doors.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So what we did, this is not how we generally do it. We generally have the fiberglass door jambs in the mold and everything. And so if you can kind of look in here, you've been working away, and I mean, Australia is going to have a new awesome hot rod builder. I'm telling you. Anybody that's listening out there, Rob's got it together. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people, and for someone that, I mean, it's not like you haven't done this, but
Yeah,
you haven't worked with fiberglass
Uh-huh.
before. You haven't done what we do. I've been treating them like an apprentice here the last little bit. I do this, and I come back in a half hour, 20 minutes, or whatever I think is the time you're gonna have a new question. So, getting it together. We want to cut 2 doors. So the best way, and then you can do this too at home if you've got an old T-bucket that don't have any doors. You can see I marked on this side already. It's got this little body line here. It's pretty easy to take a marker and run it in that seam to get your idea, so we're going to want to cut it on that line. But I don't want to cut it until I've got a jamb created. So that's what you're doing with this wood. You've created, you kind of show us what you did. Why don't you?
Yeah, so run the wood in the centre of where we're going to chop the door, so we've got room to hinge it on both sides, using a spacer, and then I'm just shaping it now because we're going to drop in the double insert.
So once the wood, that way we're making sure that the wood's not hitting where it goes in. So the wood's going to be pretty close to that insert.
So obviously that adds to the strength of a normal T-bucket. I don't think we see that in Australia. We normally would just put this, do a side intrusion, maybe a bit of steel work like you do with your coops.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got the reinforcement in the floor that you have on the bottom and your top of your coops. And like you said, it's been tested and proven before where the customer in France set one on its roof.
Went on its top and it didn't crush it. So
So-
very, very strong product in the floor. This Nitacore or Plascore as it's called now. They sold out.
Yeah, I doubt whether you could do that in a modern day steel car, sit it on its reef and then just push it back over and open the doors.
No, there's a couple thoughts in building a car. You have a race car technology which is braced and it's withstands a heavy impact and you're secured in the car. But the modern technology is that car crushes. They want that car to crush, and they got collapse zones, and any kind of a hit, it destroys the car. So we're kind of old school. We're on the race car technology side of things.
So yeah, I'm just getting this all ready to drop in the liner, and then
And we'll bond it in with that same product that we just used a few minutes ago on Larry's car.
Yep.
And once that's bonded in, we'll let it set up a bit, and we'll cut the doors out before we put the insert in. That'll let us see what we got. We got this on a jig. You could do this on your frame if you're doing it at home. You could just use your frame as a jig. This is a mock-up of one of our frames. It just happens to be taller and on wheels. It's not that hard of a process. We just talked a little bit ago about, you know, it takes you a few hours to do something, but you're that much more happy with the car.
Yeah.
Just spend the time. It's an investment that, you know, may become an heirloom. You know, maybe this was Grandpa's car passed on to generations. Cars sometimes get that way.
I think every little bit you can do, you get the satisfaction of then seeing the end result at the end.
Absolutely. We talk about that a lot. And we talk too about over there, Larry and I. Larry's a customer. We generally don't have customers come in, and a little different with a dealer. I mean, we're developing a relationship and
Educating them.
well, and we want to keep the same standard of quality. And if you come up with a new idea, we're going to share that. And it's always, we want to keep improving the product. So if somebody buys a Spirit, whether it be a Spirit USA or Spirit Australia, it's still a Spirit. And here it's kind of like McDonald's. McDonald's, the hamburger better be the same every time. Whether it's good or bad, it's the McDonald's hamburger or whatever. That's kind of what we're aiming at. But so this is coming together. We're going to put the bed on. I think we're going to have this done by the time to go.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a big learning curve for myself. So next time I'll get asked to do it, I'll know exactly what I need to do.
And then we'll go ahead and I think we need to show this again tomorrow. Show the progress. This is something a lot of people that's got T-buckets out there wish they had a door.
Yep.
And you know what I'm talking about. If you don't have a door in your T-bucket, don't lie. You wish you had a door. It's not very graceful for your wife to be trying to climb over there and get in. And when you get old like me, the knees are gone, and it's pretty nice to have a door. Are you going to do repair work over there? This kind of work?
Yeah, I think for the normal door inserts, that's something I'd be comfortable with.
I mean, a customer that would come in that has somebody else's car.
Yeah, I think we could.
So you'll be a rod shop over there. You'll take on paint jobs, and you'll take on.
Yeah, eventually I'll be doing everything. So yeah, as my knowledge builds and through education with yourself, just spending time doing one, and obviously I did 2 deck lifts yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second time around it's so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good.
Well, I guess the tip of the day, if we got a tip from the Australia, this is part 2. Get your orders in quick. They're going quick. Your container is. I was going to have you finish on some of the process, what it's going to take to get it from here to there.
Yeah.
Time frames and how can people order and what does it.
Yeah, okay, so unlike your customers, they'll drive here or they'll get it shipped straight away by road. Ours is a little bit more involved, so it's at least 60-day turnaround time to get it to where I'm based in Perth. The last part of the journey, getting it to Sydney, Melbourne, wherever, that's just a matter of putting it on a truck, so that's quite a simple process. So yeah, I think that's just what the customer in Australia is going to allow for, is the lead time of the shipping, and if they can let us know earlier than later, we can get on top of that and get it organised.
And when you look at the exchange rate, your dollar's a little cheaper than ours. So if you're looking in dollars,
Yeah.
be aware if you go on one Spirit site and it's $1, I mean, and then you've got shipping that you've got to put on that too. So
Yeah, that's correct. So to try and keep that down to a minimum, we try and put the cars in lots of 4, and that was a bit of an unknown when we first started, but at the moment, like you said, we're getting orders on a regular basis. I get inquiries now every day. So I don't think it'll be a problem where we can put 4 in the container, just pass on the shipping costs that cost, and yeah, get a few more into the country and go from there.
yeah, once you get a few, I don't know how many we've done, but we've done a lot of cars, and I've had people say they didn't, they had a Spirit car and then they didn't realize how many Spirit cars were in their area, in their community,
Yeah.
until they had theirs, and they start looking, and and it's a pretty big country here, so it's kind of a big deal if you only have just 2 or 3 or 4 cars in a town, but there's a lot of towns, so.
No, I think like I've said in the past, once I get them into the country, people can see them. Australia hot rod community is the same as any other. It's word of mouth. So once the guys say, "Oh, I got this product from America," you could see the 40 years of knowledge and technology that's gone into it. Yeah, I don't see a problem with massive growth in the future.
Yeah, it's good. I'm excited. And you've got it kind of 2 ways, if I understand right. We can, and obviously want to fill a container up as full as we can get it.
Yeah.
You pay for the container no matter how much it weighs.
Nice.
So the more you get in it, the better. The cheaper the shipping is per part. But you also have a relationship with another company that does regular imports.
Yeah,
You could,
yeah. So if we have one-off or parts or bits and pieces, I can utilise that. That comes out of California. These ones will be coming out of New York, which gives us a little bit more leeway of what we can put in the container, which is the main advantage of that.
so bottom line is shipping is an issue on
Yeah,
it, but it's not unsurmountable. You've
No.
taken care of titling issues, and you've done your due diligence, and so if you folks in Australia, and I'm starting to see we're getting some people looking at our site. Uncle Rob doing a good job. So,
no, it's good.
no, and you are. I am fully impressed. I am fully impressed. We're not talking about amateur rod builder here. You may not have done this style of car, but obviously you know how to build cars. So since this is a 2-part show, I split my books up today.
Okay.
So we had to pass it on the first version, the American version. Now this is the Australian version. You want to give us one? I may need to send some books home with you. If you got a hot rod philosopher there,
Yeah.
you need to send me some books from Australia.
Okay, I've got one here. It's the wealth a person has in his portfolio will always amount to nothing compared to the wealth of life and loving friendship. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
So we're making a business deal here, and so hopefully we're both going to make some wealth out of it. But the relationship and the friendship, I think, is just as important in the relationship if we're going to have a long-term relationship together.
Yeah, I think
So-
it is, and that's why, for my own point of peace of mind and yourself, I took the time to come here, meet the crew, get to know everybody. Beautiful, loved it.
And I'm looking forward for Australia.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put it on the
calendar.
tell corporate, hey, you got to send me to this dealer out in Australia.
Yeah, but he'll have to take a boat because he won't ride in a plane.
Oh, I don't like to fly. Yeah.
So we'll
But
just
anyway.
we'll put him in the container and he'll show up one day.
I'll be there, give you some food.
60 days later.
The world cruise.
Yeah, World Cruise on the World Tour. That's it for today. So appreciate you being with us, and we're going to watch this thing get done. We're going to have it done. It's a goal. So by Friday morning, 8 o'clock, we'll
Should be in the
we'll be
container
ready.
finished.
We may do 11:05 p.m. on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think so.
We can do it for Australia. Finishing this one up. Okay, very good. Thanks for being with us.